What's up, guys? This is Puerto Rican Boy, and this is part 9 of Ratchet and Clank Going Commando. Right now we left off at this planet, Notak. And I'm sorry about the last part. I said that it's gonna end with cutscenes, but didn't exactly work out like that. What happened was, at the very last minute, on Dazzle, the frames were dropping like crazy. Like, by the time the cinematic was done, it was like 1,000 dropped frames or something. It was barely moving. Pretty much, it's just stopped working, I guess. I don't know what happened. I can't even explain it. It never happened again, so who knows. I also have to apologize, but there are no cinematics at all for parts 7, I believe, or 6 through 10. And that's because I was using YouTube for those cinematics, and for some reason, all of a sudden, like in the project, like the YouTube cutscenes, it won't go into the project. I don't know what happened, but when I try to import it into Sony Vegas, it won't do it. So for those parts, I decided I'm not gonna try and re-download those cutscenes again, and then edit everything all over again. Instead, I'm just gonna not put in the cinematics at all. Don't worry, you're not missing much. I'll make it up when I play the game on PlayStation 3. Really, this is just me. I'm doing this still because I want to finish what I started. That's pretty much it. And right now I'm doing an optional mission. And I'm exploring this part of the city, but this isn't necessary for progressing in the game. As a matter of fact, I should probably question, if what I get at the end is even worth it or not. Of course, I do want to show off as much of the game as possible. I have nothing else to say. This is footage from months ago. And of course, by the time I'm commentating on this, I'm doing it right now. But by the time you see this, Ratchet and Clank Collection has been announced. So I'm definitely excited for that. And I'm gonna definitely redo Going Commando because, well, the lack of cinematics, I have to go on the YouTube, I don't really think, like, I was actually considering a redo or something, maybe trying to get the disc cleaned up, get rid of the scratches and all that, and so that I can redo the playthrough without having to go to YouTube for cutscenes, because the quality of those cinematics are so horrible on YouTube for some reason. I don't know. I guess those videos were recorded when EasyCap was the only option for a recorder? I don't know. It was definitely before the time of Dazzles and HD PVRs. Well, it has to be, because I don't know how people can be using the same capture device and have worse quality. I mean, where's the logic in that? Actually, it is necessary that you do all available missions, because you have to level up all your weapons. How does this game get its difficulty? Well, towards the end, all the enemies have like over 9,000 health, and it drains all your ammo, so you want all your weapons to be nice and leveled up. Which is easier said than done, considering that... Did they just clip to the wall? Okay, I'm getting distracted. It's easier said than done because, well, a lot of times you're gonna be more focused on one weapon, and you might leave another weapon completely ignored in the cold. For example, the chopper. I kind of ignored the chopper for this playthrough. And also the seeker gun. The seeker gun is one that you can easily ignore, but it is actually kind of necessary to it is necessary later on. It does become, when it upgrades, then it becomes good. However, trying to get it upgraded is very difficult, to where, you know, somebody might easily overlook it and just give up on using it at all, when really it does help a fuck ton. Also, one thing you notice is I paused and I kind of paused the game. What happened during the recording was that after what happened with the cinematic fucking up, and you know what? Here's the ironic part. That cutscene was the only one that actually worked. That in which the audio wasn't skipping. And that had to be the one where the frames dropped like shit. Alright, anyways, as I was saying, so after that, you know, I kind of got paranoid, and as I'm watching my footage and all that, I'm looking at Dazzle, and it keeps saying that, you know, how many frames dropped. The number goes up by 1 every couple of seconds. And I kind of got paranoid, thinking that, oh, it's gonna mess up the video. When really, you know, 1 frame, there's, like, really in total, I would probably have lost like 20 frames, which sounds like a lot, but actually, you know, there's 60 frames in 1 second. So really, and it's a 15-minute video. So, you know, 20 frames is actually nothing at all. It's not even like 1/10 of a second. So, you know, I was just being paranoid about that. What the hell am I doing? I just stopped moving. I remember the first time I played this game, like what happened is I used the heavy lancer like all the time because it was such a good gun. Like, it kills everything in its way so fast. And then I get to like halfway into the game and it becomes so useless. And because I kept using the heavy lancer so much, all my other weapons sucked. And of course, because I did skip a lot of the optional missions and the optional opportunities to get bolts, I skipped some of those. Because of that, I also barely had bolts to afford new weapons, and I was really struggling in the game. And that was like the main criticism for Ratchet and Clank going Commando. In a way, it does kind of remind me of a lot of old school games, Super Nintendo games, like Mega Man X, in which you have to be vigilant the entire time because you have to look out for heart tanks, energy tanks. You have to collect all the armors, or else you're gonna have a hard time in the final stages of the game. Like, the game isn't gonna stop you from continuing to the final stage. Even though you don't have any heart tanks, no energy tanks, they're gonna let you keep going. And if you don't have any of those necessary items, you're gonna have the hardest time getting through it. You know, so, you know, I remember like that. It happened to me when I played Mega Man X2 and X3. X3 definitely. Hell, like X3, the regular stages were tough. Without the necessary items. So of course I had a hard time until I realized, oh, I'm supposed to be looking for these extra items, like the heart tanks and all that. And I realized, oh, this game's actually really easy. You know, at first it baffled me as to why the final boss was so difficult. Like, he'll take up so much health, the fight is super long. Well, that's because they're assuming that you have energy tanks so that you can live a lot longer. Oh, and I'm showing off a Platinum Bolt's location. See, opens up the door and you have to rush over. It's not really that difficult to get to it. So, you know, don't panic. Oh yeah, Platinum Bolts are also necessary. Because you have to get mods, and mods are actually pretty important. I don't know, I don't like the soundtrack for our Planet Notak. It sounds boring. I don't know, I'm just rambling because I don't know what to say. Well, there's a cutscene coming up. Of course, I won't play the cinematic, so...
Starship mods. Well, a quick visit to Slim's wouldn't cost us much time. Or maybe we should check out that chemical factory. Someone inside might know where the thief was headed.
Don't worry, I'll make it up to you with a playthrough on PS3, so yeah. And we're gonna head into the chemical plant in a little bit. So yeah, Ratchet and Clank is the kind of game in which you do have to do all the extra stuff. You have to pay attention to your weapons, level them up all equally, or else you're gonna have a hard time. Oh yeah, one thing I noticed is that Ratchet is actually floating on the bridge. Like, the hitbox for the bridge is slightly bigger than the actual bridge itself. I don't know why, but I don't know why. Well, I just explained it. I don't know why how they could not have found that. I don't know. Now this section is more based on puzzle and platforming, and it shows off the Terminator. It's a pretty cool gadget. Yeah, that's one thing the PS3 games are known for, is gadgets, lots of them. Future Tools of Destruction did have a few gadgets, but they weren't really as special as the ones in the PS2 games. That one, really, Future Tools of Destruction was more about, well, tools of destruction. It's more about the weapons and all that, whereas the PlayStation 2 games, they also showcase a lot of gadgets. They're not really well known. Well, I can't really say well known. However, I do consider like the PS3 games to be a bit better with weapons because, well, you know, the PlayStation 2 games like Going Commando and Up Your Arsenal, they Up Your Arsenal mainly recycled a lot of weapons. Like even the ones that you don't get for free, they're recycled. Which is kind of a rip-off, you know? Like when I first saw the game, I'm thinking, wow, I'm gonna get a lot of weapons for free because, you know, they're all the same shit. Like the suck cannon, the lava gun? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. The lava gun, you know, you see all those weapons, you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna get a lot of free weapons. But really, they only give you some of the weapons for free if you have a memory card with save data. I don't know. Really, the only PS3 game I played was Future Tools of Destruction, and it didn't really feel like as if it was completely recycled. There were a few key differences in the weapons, like the Shard Reaper. At first you think, oh, it's another Blitz gun, but no. There are a few key things in it that make it different from the shotgun or the Blitz gun, which is the fact that it's actually shooting needles or spikes. And those spikes, those individual spikes, freeze enemies or they blow up, causing additional damage. So, you know, those little changes does make it a bit more different from the Blitz gun. And that's more rambling. This level, it's based more... this is not really combat based, you know. That's one thing I like about Ratchet and Clank, though, is that it's not just it's not just combat. No, they do, you know, separate a bunch of sections with also puzzles and platforming, which is why, you know, the game's 20 hours, but I don't ever get bored with it. As a matter of fact, I play it again multiple times. If it was just all combat with no rest, with no like platforming section for rest or anything, then I think I would see myself getting bored with the game within like 8 hours, 10 hours. So it's good to have, you know, little sections like that. And of course, the point of these puzzles, you have to time your shots with the Terminator so that the ice, or not the ice, but the water freezes. The water freezes just where the tube's at, so that you can go under the tube. Or the hole, whatever.
Have you seen any masked weirdos?
Anyway, see you guys later. This is Puerto Rican Boy, and I'm out.
I think I had better do the talking. A masked customer picked up an order not long ago. Recently, they received a new transmission from him, and they are willing to show it to us for a small price.